Ooh, okay. We're streaming live on Facebook. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Saturday. I'm Julie Gunnigle. I'm the past president of the Arizona Association for Gifted and Talented. I'm here with Stephanie Newitt. Stephanie, you want to introduce yourself and like why we're here, what we're doing today?
Yes. So my name is Stephanie Newitt. I'm the president of the Arizona Association for Gifted and Talented. And we are here today to discuss the need to finally fund Gifted Arizona, or gifted education in Arizona.
Yeah, that's right. So for everybody who's been following along at home, it has been nearly a decade since we have had full funding for gifted programs. It's one of the many worthy education initiatives that was cut because of the Great Recession. And despite some stellar advocacy, has just never been restored. We're nearing the final 2 weeks of push to get these programs funded. So we're here today just to remind you of how important it is. And I know that Stephanie has a powerful story as to why, from a parent perspective, we ought to be funding these programs. Stephanie, why should we be funding these programs?
Oh my goodness. These gifted kids, first of all, they need to be identified, and that has been a struggle in many areas of our state. But they also need teachers who really understand them on the academic piece as well as a social emotional piece. I have lived here in Arizona for the past 20 years, and all 4 of my children have been identified as gifted. And that has made life very, very intense in our household because raising gifted children is not easy. And some commonalities among my children are issues with perfectionism and emotional intensities. But though this issue is common, each child's struggle has looked very different. Their struggle has been very individual. And unfortunately, they can develop unhealthy strategies to deal with these struggles, and their strengths can actually mask these unhealthy mindsets. The story I want to share with you today is that one of my children, son, though he was in advanced classes, received low grades. And one reason was because he struggled to find connection with his teachers. For example, on the pre-assessment exam for his AP physics, this is college level physics, he received actually an 85% on the pre-assessment at the beginning of the year.
While Wait, everyone before taking the class, he received an 85%.
Yes, before.
Wow.
But just about everybody else received in the 60% range. And so I was quite excited. This teacher actually had a PhD in physics, and I thought, wow, my son could really get some amazing mentoring here. So when I approached the teacher, what could be done to accommodate my son's needs? What could be done differently to help him in his growth? The teacher literally said, nothing. Nothing will be done. He'll still learn by doing everything else everybody else does. And that was heartbreaking to me as a mom. So he was actually asked to earn a grade by jumping through hoops, not by learning new material. And every child deserves a chance to learn something new every day. And this was not an opportunity my son was given. So he mentally checked out of the class, and he received a D for his lack of effort. However, the teacher had an agreement with the class. And that agreement was, if you receive a high score in the AP exam, the teacher would change your grade and make it an A for the entire course. So my son planned all year to do well in the AP exam. And sure enough, he received a high score, and the teacher had to change his grade from a D to an A. So what did my son learn in this physics class? He did not learn physics. He did not learn to work hard. He did not learn to ask questions because why? The teacher wasn't going to listen to what he brought to the table. He did not learn any new concepts that would foster his love for physics, which was his most favorite subject of the whole world. He just learned that what he brought to the table was not valued, and that in order to survive academically, he learned to work the system. So he did not learn physics. And we need teachers out there who get this, who get that a child's worth is not based on their product and their ability to jump through hoops. It's based on their and just who they are holistically. Intellectually, emotionally, they need to be honored for who they are. And that thirst for knowledge needs to be nurtured. So that's my story.
100%. Like, and your story just points out what we hear again and again when we talk about these programs, as if these students are going to be fine entirely on their own.
Right. Like, define fine for gifted, for any child. And what does it mean for a gifted child? Oh, they're fine. They're fine. We need to change it to thriving. Is our child thriving?
And that's, I think, what's so powerful about the way the gifted pedagogy generally and how we train teachers, right? Because what works for gifted, being able to differentiate education, being able to give each child what they need, having the tools and strategies to do that, it doesn't just benefit those students who would come into a class knowing 85% of the material already. It benefits the entire classroom. And that's what we're fighting for. We're fighting for funding so that we can train our teachers, so that they can feel supported in the classroom, so that we can fund these incredibly important programs, and that we can fund the future, because these high potential students, they're not going to be fine on their own. They're at risk for behavior. They're at risk for getting Ds. They're students that deserve to thrive just like any other student. So our ask is, and why we're going live today, Stephanie, what do we need them to do?
We need you to contact your legislators. Contact them, tell them your story. They need to know that gifted education is about getting strategies into the hands of teachers that will benefit all students, because there's not a single student who will hit average and middle of the road on every single marker. Every student needs support for their strengths and their struggles. And that's the philosophy of gifted education.
100%. And now is the time to do it. So if you have a story like Stephanie's, this is the time to get loud, because folks, it's not going to change unless a few brave people speak up and get loud and apply that pressure. And what makes the difference more than anything else is hearing those stories. If you have a story of a student who wasn't identified when they should have been, we're fighting for universal screening for all children right now. We're fighting for funding. We're fighting to make these changes permanent so that districts can know and charters can know that when they build these programs, they will be there, in 5 and 10 years for the students that they identify today. But we're not going to get it done without your help. So in the links, I am going to drop how you find your district and then how you contact your legislator. So if you do not already know who your state senator and your 2 state representatives are, we're going to provide that information for you so that you can get out and get loud with us and for us on behalf of gifted education. Because as you probably know, our legislators only work a certain portion of the year, right? We have a part-time legislature. So if we don't get this done in the next 2 weeks, folks, it's going to be an entire year till we get a shot at this again. And a year's a long time in the life of an adult. I can tell you that from COVID time, we all know that, but it's forever when you're a child. That is just such a long time to go without funding, to go without support. So we need your help. We need it urgently. We need it now. Any closing remarks, Stephanie?
We just really need your voice. We have to get loud and let the legislature know that genius is being left on the table. And Arizona cannot afford to do that. If we have gifted kids who are masking their brilliance and are putting more of their effort into working the system and not learning how to release their potential, how is that going to benefit them in college? How is that going to benefit them in life? Or how will that impact Arizona's workforce and our economic growth here in the state? This is a message for all of Arizona. We've got to get this out there.
I love it. Let's not leave genius on the table. Let's get this done. Everyone, have a great rest of your weekend. Get those emails out immediately. And thank you so much on behalf of the Arizona Association for Gifted and Talented.